Hello and welcome to another episode of the Fortnightly Frontier. My name is Myre, and joined with me as always is Mr. Darjanator. Say hi, Darj.
Hi, Darj.
And today we're going to be talking about 3.10 and other things SC related, because we haven't been on for a long time. A while.
We haven't been long in a while. No, the last thing we covered was the Invictus Fleet Week thing with Paul. That was more than a couple of weeks ago.
It's been a long fortnight. It's been a fortnight on, like, I don't know, Mars or Jupiter.
Well, time is an illusion. Fortnight doubly so, as Douglas Adams would say.
Yes, yes.
But yes, like we've been teasing for a while now, 3.10 is finally out of its prolonged tenure with the Evocati, and is it still Wave 1?
It's felt like 10 years, hasn't it? Yeah, it's still Wave 1 at this point.
That means subscribers and concierge get access.
Mm-hmm.
So not much new in 3.10, huh?
Well, I mean, yes and no.
A lot of changes, but nothing actually new.
Yeah, as feature-wise, like that kind of thing, not really. It's more like things that have existed are changed, which I guess you can call features.
Yeah, you could say it's new. Yeah, I mean, there certainly has been development done on the game in the past quarter. It's not just been stagnation, even though you can hardly blame them with what the world's been going through lately. But yeah, so like strictly new things. There's that fella.
Yeah, Pico the Penguin.
Pointing the right. Yeah, am I pointing the right? Yeah,
you are. Yeah, Pico the Penguin.
Yeah. The mascot of Microtech, and its snowy landscape. You got bartenders. Bartenders are important. Bartenders, like, probably the most important feature in 3.10, like in terms of what's to come.
I suppose, yeah. I mean, like, not even being ironic, right? Like, some people who think, oh, it's just bartenders. Oh, that's great. CIG, thanks for spending all that money. But no, it really is the first step in the development of the new kind of AI and how they work.
Yeah, well, it's actually not just development, but implementation at this point. So it's like AI that can interact with other AI, interact with items, combine them with other items to create a third type of item, and stuff like that. And that brings that sort of functionality and implementation to other professions. Bartender is basically just the trope they chose to start that with, because it's the sort of starter.
I think they chose it because it's the least complex thing that they could possibly put together. Like, if this new AI is pretty complicated, because it's not just, it's an AI that can talk to a player, that can interact with items, that can make those items interact with each other, and then then give those items to you, and then also queue your interactions with that AI with other AI and players as well. So it's like, I guess they could have chosen something else, but as far as like the universe is concerned, bartenders were something that were a stretch goal as well for the game back in release and stuff. Well, back in funding.
Sure, but also bartenders, if you go back into other Chris Roberts games, they are the sort of trope character that you deal with to get missions and possibly even items for quests and stuff like that. So that's why also the cafeteria or the mess hall scenes are also prominently featured in these demos, because that's also on Freelancer. Was it Freelancer games, which was the combat ones?
Was it Freelancer?
No, not Freelancer. Something Wing Commander.
Okay,
that's the one. Yeah. Like your main hub of activity when you were not on a mission was in the cafeteria, talking to other crew members, stuff like that. Yeah, and that's just the context of that is has been pulled from those from the past. Yeah. And then you also have the mobiGlas now has colors on the wristband, so pretty much it when it comes to new stuff.
Yeah, new mobiGlas casings. I guess you brought up Pico and the new gift shop bartenders. Well, I mean, there's body dragging. That's a new feature.
Oh, okay, yeah, which is fun. Still have to do the drag race we've been talking about, like literal drag race. It's a bit iffy right now. So if you go too quickly over bumps, you let go. The grip let go. So you have to know what you're walking over to modulate your speed if you want to keep your grip.
Yeah, keep dragging.
One thing it'd be interesting how this progresses is if your legs, for instance, are shot and you're treated, but like field medics should only be able to stop your condition from degrading, right?
Right. Yeah.
Instead of completely bringing you back to 100% health. So that'd be cool. For instance, in the future, if when you're incapacitated, like somebody has to drag you from the battlefield.
Yeah.
If they don't have any other means, you're still able to shoot or it's able to do something while you're being dragged. That'd be cool. Because right now, as soon as you regain consciousness, the grip automatically lets go and you stand up. So it's just a bit.
I'll be interested to see how they make it all work because whilst carrying somebody who's down might be cool. At the same time, losing player agency is never fun. Being the unconscious person isn't, it's worked in games before as an experiment, like in DayZ, like you can be knocked out in DayZ for half an hour hearing people talking around you and stuff. But I don't know. I mean, like if they pull too much of your agency away for too long, it's not going to be fun for you at least.
No, definitely no. But if you're still able to, being immobile because your legs are completely destroyed is something that is sort of expected.
Yeah, to a degree. I just feel like it's going to be one of those things where hopefully you can use a medipen and like you've not played Tarkov, but where if your legs get destroyed, you can at least splint up and walk around the place and that kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
At least hobble after a while.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Well, portable hover wheelchairs is what we need then for medics.
Yeah, I mean, just hook up the Xian. They should probably hook us up with that because I think the Xian can, right? But yeah, honestly, it's one of those things where you haven't played Hunt Showdown either. But in Hunt Showdown, your health bar is gauged, right? And if your health goes down past 1 gauge and you use a heal, it won't go back up and fill that last quarter gauge, right? Unless, of course, you have something that can do that for you. Like a stronger potion, or in Star Citizen's case, maybe a better quality med bed or an actual doctor, So maybe a medipen. Yeah. So I think we could, that kind of stuff could be cool. But I mean, for dragging and for being a player who's been knocked out, it'd be nice if maybe perhaps, let's say, your legs are destroyed or whatever, and now maybe for a minute or so you cannot move or whatever, you can drag yourself along, but then after a while you can at least start to limp. Otherwise, I just think that it'll be really bad for the player. It's one of those things that are cool as a concept.
That's true, but then again, would you extend it to ships? Should ships automatically repair themselves, or should you actually have to seek out mechanical aid in forms of either your own drones, repair drones, or that Anvil ship that's meant to fix stuff?
I mean, they're not really very similar though, because as a player, if your legs are destroyed, you're literally crawling around. As a ship, your ship right now is either destroyed or damaged, and if it's damaged, it can at least still get to somewhere, At
Unless
least in 3.9.
Thrusters are blown off. Yeah.
Yeah. So at least in 3.9. In 3.10, I haven't tried flying a Cutlass with its engines blown up or something. But I got shot maybe twice in a Mustang Alpha on the port side, and it destroyed a thruster, and I wasn't able to correct myself anymore, and I was kind of crashing into it. So I don't know. We'll have to do some damage testing or something at some point.
Yeah, but we also already seen that there's certain ships that are beginning to be completely unusable on planets like the Reclaimer and the Starfarer, for instance.
Not unusable. I just flew it.
Almost.
Almost. If you're not patient, they're not ships for the impatient anymore. They never really were, but now doubly so because, I mean, they never were ships for the impatient because there's no gameplay for them. There's no salvage, there's no refueling, but now it's doubly so because, of course, they're hulks now. They take a lot of, I guess, knowledge to use. You have to know not to like go over tilt, otherwise you'll fall backwards onto yourself, stall and die.
That as well. Wow. Okay. Yeah. The 890 jump was. We took off from where we take off from?
From Lorville.
From Lorville, yeah. It was quite the ordeal.
But with things like the Reclaimer, I don't know about the Caterpillar or the Starfarer, but the Reclaimer stalls. You need to make sure that you time when to use the VTOL thrusters. You can take up the landing gear like nubbins from like the bottom, but you have to leave VTOL down. And then if you go higher than 20 degrees or lower than -20, you will just start to plummet. And it's great to a degree, but also, kind of scary if you don't have to do it. And
right. So in this case, I wonder if they'll be upgrading VTOL to be more than just, have two modes with 90-degree like forward or just, straight downwards. If they'll let you articulate those more granularly. Hey, that's the word that's been bothering me. Remember we were... Yeah, granularly, yeah. It's not an easy word to pronounce. But anyway, it would be interesting if we got those massive VTOL engines to move in more than just two positions, so you could use them more easily. Like if you tilted upwards but still had the engines pointed straight down, you could aim at certain points while not losing stability.
Yeah. It would make sense, honestly, for the IFCS to like make the VTOL thrusters act sensibly like that. Like you can choose to either have VTOL on or off, or have it dynamic.
Yeah.
Like pitch. Yeah, that would make it really easy. Because right now, if you do the wrong thing, you're done in the Reclaimer. It's funny, but gradually adjusting VTOL thrusters do make sense to me. Like if you want to like have a separate mode for it.
Sure, like I've been playing Halo, right? Because whatever the company is has been releasing them in the Master Chief Collection on Steam, and the human ships, the drop ship has VTOL engines. It's got 4 of them to very much like the Valkyrie, and when it's maneuvering, turning around and stuff like that, you can see them moving independently by just a couple of degrees each, and that actually looks very stable. It looks very natural, and it's completely faked in that game. Obviously, it's just there for effect. But if David Coulson and his team are able to implement something like that, I think it's gonna shut up a lot of people who were complaining about hover mode. I think
we've had it before. We've had it before with the Cutlass back when it had those like crazy like thrusters. But
true.
Yeah, if they brought that back, but it was much slower to react, it would be exactly what people want.
Yeah, of course you wouldn't have the super maneuverability of an M50, but just because you have a huge hulking mass of equipment that needs to articulate, you would need to still be gentle and precise with your maneuvers, but still it would, I think, be better.
Yeah. Agreed. So one last feature I guess we missed out on was
I mean we're talking about atmospheric flight, there's dynamics, aerodynamics. Like have you tested that a bit? Like, do aerodynamic ships actually perform better in atmosphere than brick-shaped ships?
I mean, I guess in general, like even the Reclaimer, once you get into space, handles better. But as for actual aerodynamics, like lift and stuff, I haven't tested that yet. That's a good one. Like flying a Gladius in a straight line, turning it off, and then like seeing if it stays or if it plummets straight down. I haven't tried that yet, but as far as I know, actual things like control surfaces and like ailerons and stuff, they aren't simulated yet, but they will.
They're not.
They will.
No. Oh, that would be so amazing if you could get. Can you imagine how much that would mean for stealth? Like if you're approaching a land base and you aim up, you get to a certain speed, you turn off your thrusters only, and keep your control surfaces active with a Gladius, and just glide in. Like a lot of your emissions are gonna drop to almost zero at that
apart
point.
from your shields.
I mean, if you're doing stealth, you might as well drop shields as well. But
that's true. That's true. Yeah.
Suicide mission at that point, I guess.
Yeah, you get shot once. That's the end. But that would be really cool. But that's why I guess right now in 3.10 the Gladius doesn't really. I mean, in atmosphere when you try and roll, it's almost like the Reclaimer. I mean, like that's maybe an overstatement, but it's slow as hell, and that's because of that. You know, like the ailerons and stuff aren't simulated.
Yeah, do you think it's a thing they're planning for Squadron 42?
I'm sure, yeah. I mean, like, they've said, right, that they're working on it. So, and once it's out, it'll be there for Squadron. Anything for Squadron's for us, and anything for us is for Squadron, so...
Yeah. All the assets are like, identical, yeah. It's just a different setting. But yeah, I mean, because we have seen even the vertical slice. It's a planet-side mission on a planet that appears to have at least somewhat Earth-like atmosphere. So it would be quite dense, and you would. So lift is there, drag is there, and if you get control surfaces, you get much better maneuvering as well.
Yeah, so it's gonna get there, I guess, eventually. But for 3.10, it's kind of like a partial thing. But that's kind of how most of 3.10 has felt. Most of it's kind of felt partial.
Tier 0, yeah.
Yeah. It's interesting because you can say, oh, but we've had flight for so long. Why is this tier 0 again? I guess the flight document literally says that this is like it's almost like this is a whole new flight model altogether. And this is them starting that approach now. Hopefully it doesn't change again. I don't see them doing so. I mean, like Dave Carlson and his guys have been on it for like a little while now, and they basically inherited the flight system from that other dev. I forget his name. Sorry.
Yeah, same. Yeah, and then apparently it was very badly coded. It was good when it came to simulations and everything, but yeah,
from picking up the buck and I guess continuing off it, maybe it's not as good as it could be.
Yeah, exactly.
I wouldn't call it badly coded. The words and ideas of Darjanator do not directly correlate with Myre.
Well, one coder's salad is another coder's garbage. I don't know if that's a saying. Maybe it should be, but it's also from hearsay. I don't know. Maybe it was, but on the other hand, maybe it was a complete different way of approach that was needed for the new system. So who knows?
Yeah.
We're all armchair programmers and game developers at this point.
I'll have you know I don't own an armchair.
But
anyway, is there anything else about flight that we haven't covered yet?
Flight? Don't think so, but directly about flight. Oh yeah, of course there is. The thrusters have been adjusted now, so they have actual jerk instead of infinite jerk, and jerk is a derivative of acceleration. So when a thruster fires in up to 3.9, it was instantaneously turned on to maximum power, which created very for lack of a better phrase, jerky movement. But now there is finite jerk, which means that when a thruster fires up, it starts from 0 and then gradually goes up to full power, and then when it stops firing, it doesn't also immediately go to 0, but it also gradually its value drops to 0. So
yeah, which is cool for like simulation fans, but for people who are used to more arcadey space games or like FPS things, it's gonna really kind of like I guess make that kind of thing not so fun for them. I mean, like I've had a hard time getting, you know, like FPS esports, you know, friends into Star Citizen because of how movement works of the player, let alone movement of the ship, and because they're used to, I guess, a different kind of game. But I guess for us and for sim fans in general, it's a step in the right place without making it too, I guess, too simmy.
But yeah, then again, you know, spaceships don't exist, and everything is just an approximation at this point, either by our theoretical application or by CIG's practical application. Yes,
theory.
But I do like it. It feels. Fast ships still feel fast, and heavy ships feel a lot heavier now, which probably is the intent behind it.
Yeah. Obviously, again, like moving from 3.9 to 3.10, it's definitely not going to feel complete, and I feel like there's going to be a lot of complaints for it until we get things like control surfaces, and until things like just the heavy ships get tuned and tweaked. Right now, the Reclaimer is hard to fly. Right now, the Caterpillar is hard to fly. Same with all the other Goliaths. But at the same time, I think right now in 3.10, they're currently using the fully laden like flight model for them. Yogi said like 3 weeks ago that the amount of cargo on your ship and the amount of cargo weight is going to directly affect how the ship flies and handles. And I think currently in the PTU, they're all flying as if they were fully laden because they want to make sure that that is taken care of, because obviously when they're not, they're going to handle better anyway. So.
Oh, I see. So like if you drew a real world parallel, it's like, okay, this is going to completely decimate our viewer base. But when car manufacturers... Yeah, when car manufacturers put out their power figures, they do that for sort of like the lowest quality fuel you can get, and then so if you fuel it up with a higher quality fuel, you will get more power, and you know that's why a lot of people are actually accusing manufacturers of lying about reported figures for some reason. I don't know, but yeah.
I guess similar, but do they also like fill the cars up with bricks? Because that's kind of like
for testing purposes of brakes and suspension, they do that. Yeah.
Okay. All right. But yeah, so that's that with flight.
I mean, but you know, unlike in Star Citizen, they don't sell you a car fully loaded with bricks.
That's true.
Just because, so you get the experience of what it would be like driving a fully loaded.
But they will sell it to you fully loaded with missiles. Yeah.
I guess.
Yeah. So the new targeting methodology. Let's talk about things that are
with the new UI. Yeah.
So again, a step in the right direction, but I don't think it's all there yet. I really do like it visually. Visually, the new targeting methodology is really, really cool looking. They've stripped out some of the clunky stuff. Some of the old stuff is still there, and there's a bit of like a redundancy issue. Sometimes you see two names over the same pip and that kind of thing. But I'm liking where they're going visually with it. It looks nice. Just to see your targets, to target them, to see those ribbon trails and stuff. It all works really cool. Obviously, the elephant in the room with that, a lot of I guess dogfighters and more experienced PvPers than myself, they complain about the fact that you are not able to see targets behind you anymore. At least you're not allowed. You're not able to, at a touch of a button, scan all around you 360. Only at the cone in front of you.
That may actually be well, probably is intentional because a ship's scanner is pointed forwards, right?
Well, in Star Citizen, your scanner had. I mean, in ships where they're visible, like on the Terrapin and like on the Carrack, it's a dish that rotates. Even on the Cutlass Red, it's a dish that rotates. So like maybe it's at the front all the time, but you can spin it around and then look behind you.
Yeah, but is that the combat scanner, or is it like a dedicated scanner, or like because it's isn't it a different item?
I don't know. But all I know is that like
they're not physicalized yet, so we don't know. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. I don't know, but I mean, with that, I mean, in real life, how does it work? I mean, if it's not, I've never flown a fighter jet in my life. I don't play DCS.
The scanners are in the nose, and they have a cone aimed forward.
Okay, but, so you can't toggle targets behind you in real life. I don't know. Honestly don't know.
That is then handled via AWACS, I believe it's called, which is like a separate plane with a huge scanner dish that is covering the entire thing, and then transmitting that information to separate ships, which is also a reasonable thing that you would have. You have like your flotilla or your group of ships, and you have one Terrapin there with its huge scanner that is able to cover the not just like a 360 area, but a larger radius of the battlefield. Get that information and then transmit that information to other ships.
Yeah. So we know that with the new targeting system, like, okay, you can target things that are around you, and it works really well for that, especially the fact that, so it works in two ways. Instead of having a whole bunch of buttons, like reticle, look ahead, and stuff like that, it all works with one button. If something is dead ahead of you, you press 1, and it'll give you that. If something is around it, and you want to focus on that thing instead, you can either just keep pressing 1 to toggle, or you can use free look, and then press the button, and it'll target the one what you're looking straight ahead at. Also, if something is out of view and they target you, you'll hear that you've been locked on, and you can look at your annunciator panel, and then you can press 2, and it'll target them regardless of where they are around you.
Oh, okay. So, all right, I see. So it does have this sort of 360-degree field of view, but all right, So, but for the ability to command it, they limited it to what you can see, because you can actually see like quite wide, like so you theoretically have a 180-degree view in front of you.
Yeah. So the thing is with it, it's not 100% broken. It's just that you've lost like some of the control that you used to have before, and people don't like losing things. Because how it works right now, everything around you, like Simba, everything around you can see, you can target. And obviously you have the radar, and if you have a radar contact, then you can, as people in chat are saying, you can decouple, spin around, and target those as well. There's also pinning in the game as well, so you can, if you see a spread of enemies, you can pin like up to 3 or 4, and then you can target your main thing, and then there are buttons to then like toggle through your pinned targets, even if you're facing away from them. So there are ways around it, but you just can't. You
basically can't manually target something you can't see, and I understand the logic in that. What if you're, for instance, flying in a Super Hornet, and a Super Hornet has a turret that can rotate all the way around? Can that person target something and send that target information to the pilot?
So, nice Brooklyn Nine-Nine ringtone.
Which is weird because I have no idea where my phone is. I'm just gonna have to wait until it stops ringing because it's. There we go. Usually it's in my pocket or in my desk over here, but.
So what was your question initially again?
It's like can a for instance, I'm just using the Super Hornet as an example. It has the turret, which can rotate 360 degrees. Can the person in the turret look at a target that is behind the ship?
Yeah, and
lock it and send that information to the pilot.
Currently, no. Currently, there is no way for a turret gunner. As far as I know, I need to maybe look again at the keybinds, but currently, no. Only a pilot can pin, and as far as I know, a pilot isn't able to receive a target from a turret gunner, and a turret gunner isn't able to just force send it through. I think they've done it this way because otherwise, I mean, let's look at the extreme example here. A Hammerhead pilot has 8 turret gunners. So, like, how is that going to work? 6 turret gunners, and the co-pilot, and the ship's cat. But yeah, anyway, regardless,
and Pico,
and Pico as well. But yeah, but regardless, like with that situation, your turret gunner wouldn't be able to. I mean, like it'd be. What if multiple turret gunners want to send their target? So instead, only the pilot can pin things. But what's cool is that the pilot can now pin something, and all the turret gunners can see that pinned target. So it's cool for calling the shots.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, the pilot being the one in command, telling who to go after. But if the target is behind you, they can't do it unless they decouple and do a 180.
Yeah, but that's the issue here, though, is that's currently with our example of the Hammerhead. That's how that will have to work, because you can't click on targets in your radar on a 2D radar for some weird reason. But as Kamno in chat there says, if your ship has a 3D radar globe, then you can click on your targets anywhere they are on the globe.
Yeah.
So
some ships have big 3D radar globes.
That's right.
Like the 600i and the Carrack, for instance.
Yeah. So let's say that you had somebody on that globe, right? Or no, because it still had to be the captain. But let's say, for example, the captain of the Hammerhead had a 3D globe instead. Then they would be able to click anywhere on the map right now, currently in 310, and then the turrets would be able to go crazy. And you just sit there, going, haha, yes, kill them. Haha, yes, die, fools. But yeah, currently you have to be a bit more active and you have to focus on things. Yeah.
Would be interesting if you expand that to the whole AWACS thing and with the Terrapin. Right now, what does the Terrapin turret seat do, if anything? Can you just sit in it and that's it?
So you know how you said before how you have those giant planes that are what do the targeting for your fighter jets? Yeah. That's exactly the Terrapin's role in combat.
Yeah, that is its role. But what can you do right now?
Right now, nothing, because it can't relay targets.
Yeah. But it would be interesting if you if in that thing you got like a huge like either virtual or augmented reality display, and you got the entire field of view in front of you, and then you just click, pin target, send to this ship, send to this ship, send to turret 4 of Hammerhead 3, etc. So
I'm seeing that in my mind and I'm loving it, and I think that's exactly what it's there for. It's got really good scanners, and that's essentially one of its jobs. That's its role, to do just that. Which is why it's so tanky, because in a battle, that's going to be one of the first things you want to kill, so the enemy is a bit more blind, a bit more like how people are flying in 310 and hating, But if they had a Terrapin in their team, and the Terrapins was able to send targets, then, So in that sense, it kind of makes me feel like maybe perhaps this is a little bit more what they intend, but at the same time, I feel like it's, as I guess members of the community that have a platform on a podcast and stuff like that, we should always treat these things as if they are just iterations, because they'll never just be the final thing.
Yeah. To play the devil's advocate, target nearest enemy ship is a very convenient thing to have.
It's currently
Like anyone that is by your computer's your ship's computer designated as a red ship, whether it's stolen, whether it's a pirate or whatever.
As far as I know, we don't have it. We have
Used to.
Yeah, we
in
used
3.10
to.
there is no
we
such
used
thing.
to, but in 3.10 there isn't. They have to be targeting you, and that includes friendlies. So if a friendly is 100 meters next to you and targeting you for some reason, you won't be able to target an enemy targeting you behind you because your friendly's too close to you and targeting you.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, I don't know why your friendly would be targeting you, but if they were, then that would happen.
Yeah, possibly we'll see it come back in 3.10.1 or 3.11. But yeah, I understand why such things exist. It's all down to different methodology, and you can never account for every scenario. Like you said, like if a friendly is targeting you, and if you have a single button to lock nearest attacker, but there is just 10 meters behind them there is an actual Ninetales pirate that you want to get that is also targeting you, you won't be targeting them.
Yeah. It is what it is for now.
Yeah,
but again,
it's still in PTU. Things can change, and yeah, so it's basically just iteration. Yeah.
Yeah,
All
things can change, and it's just a step. I mean, I like to stay away from the "it's just an alpha" thing because I mean, like, it doesn't mean that we can't be critical about things, but it's also important to understand that like it's only part of an iterative process.
Mm-hmm. And as always, CIG does work with its community. They gauge what people like, what people are not happy about, and they will adjust their systems to reflect that. So, yep.
Yeah. So so yes, lock nearest. So just address something in chat about locking your nearest attacker with the 2 keybind. Yeah, it says lock nearest attacker in and not target is so nearest attacker, but yeah, in the keybind it says lock nearest attacker, and that's number 2. But how it works in actuality is anything that is targeting you and has you locked is considered an attacker in 3.10 in the PTU. That's not to say that in 3.10 next week they remove it because they realize maybe that's not right. But for now, that's exactly how it works. Your ship will treat anybody targeting you and locking you as if it's attacking you or it's an attacker.
Actually, that makes a lot more sense to me because that gives them the opportunity to open it up to have friendly fights. If org stuff. Org, what do you call them? The stuff you do on your stream, Mr. Big Hotshot Streamer.
Ops, you mean?
Org ops, yeah, sure. It's like if you're in an org with somebody, you do not get crime status if you hit somebody, if you shoot somebody in your org or in your party. They implemented that to avoid people just instantly being given a crime stat even if they're just playing around with their friends. So if everybody's green in one of those ops, how are you then going to react to being attacked if only targets designated as foes by your computer are targeted by that? You have to target someone by their actions, not by their status, right? Does that make sense?
Yeah, to a degree. I mean, I feel like it's all good to have a wide brush at the moment, so it covers a whole bunch of things because at the end of the day, you need to cater to the lowest common denominator first before you then start to then build upon and serve people who are more experienced and want very specific things. So for now, it's okay, but in the future, I guess it would be better if it was better.
Yeah, like
if it was more nuanced.
Yeah, target's nearest enemy makes sense in a world in Arena Commander, for instance, where it's a strict battle between good guys and bad guys.
Yeah.
It doesn't account for any gray area in between, and the world is gray. It's not just black and white.
That's right. So, I would like to just apologize real quick to people watching live. My internet, I think, is on the fritz. I think we've dropped like 1,000 frames, but yeah. Anyway, sorry about that.
Yeah, Sunday. But added to that, we already touched upon it, is turrets. And how turrets are actually good now.
Turrets are amazingly fun now. Yeah, turrets are ridiculously cool. Before, in 3.9, I would sit on the turret and I hit something maybe twice, and I'd feel like Baby Yoda, just, I'm there for the ride. But now you actually are something to be feared. And it makes sense because, like in things like the Caterpillar and the Reclaimer, which are now Hulks, right? They're sitting ducks most of the time, but now the turrets are super powerful, so it kind of balances out some of those things. You just kind of need friends, or like at least to pay people to help you out to make sure that when you're doing those very risky trade runs, you have people to help you out.
Yeah.
But I really would like to see how they balance that because of how overpowered I would say turrets are. They're not overpowered, but because of how functional they are now. It does make certain things a bit messy, meta-wise. Like the Hurricane can pop a constellation, an NPC stock build constellation dies in 3 seconds to a Hurricane. Now I don't know. Yeah, but then again, if that constellation saw the Hurricane coming and it has 2 turrets, and those turrets are firing at the Hurricane with its own turret locking system, the Hurricane's a glass cannon, so maybe, like something else would happen, but...
I've experienced that quite a lot. Yeah, the Hurricane is oh boy.
Yeah, we'd have to like get the gang together and like have some tests where we have one multi-crew ship against like a Hurricane and see what happens.
Possibly in Arena Commander, just to avoid let's just say, when you get a lot of ships in one area fighting, it does get a bit framey in the persistent universe.
Yeah, that's right. We'll find a way. Where there's a will, there's a way. So
yes, exactly. Yeah, but a thing that I believe that makes the turrets that good right now is the always on slight auto assist. Like auto gimbals, when they were first introduced, got a lot of flack for it, just because everybody thought that they made fixed weapons completely useless. But now, fixed weapons got a bit of that as well.
They do, and they work in a cool way. Visually, it's pretty hot too. Like you have that same circle that the auto gimbal has, but what happens is that like you have to get the target into that circle. Then there's a delay time, and you see that reticle kind of focus onto the target, and then you'll get to start shooting. And you have to be in under SCM for it to work. Otherwise, it's super slow and all over the place.
Yeah.
But then again, I mean, people who have been crack shots even before all this, they shouldn't worry too much, because I feel like I don't think firing faster will affect them as much as it does other people. But then again, I've never been a good shot, so it's impossible for me to test.
Yeah, but in 3.9, with auto gimbals, it was very, very OP compared to other types of targeting. Then again, if you're in just manual targeting, that is the only way to hit something you're actually like a very precise sub-component on a big target. If you're targeting something, it will always aim. Even the new auto, the old one and the new auto aim will aim for its center of mass, or like the exact center of it. But if you're just trying to hit the cockpit of let's say a Caterpillar or one of the rear engines, we lost sub-targeting, didn't we?
No, they're still there.
Still there, all right.
Yeah, they're still there. What
button is that?
Sorry?
Which button is that?
I don't know.
Used to be 2.
It did used to be 2. I think it's 6 or something now, but I have to double check. I believe it's still there. In their talk, it was still there. You can target, at the moment, you can target main thrusters, and they said that the next subcomponents to come online for targeting is turrets.
Okay, yeah. That'll be cool.
Yeah.
Because the turrets are the pain bringers right now. So yeah, it would be nice to be able to target them and get rid of them.
Yeah, 100%. You know, you can turn like a deadly evil like a hurricane into just an evil hurricane. But yeah.
But yeah, combat right now feels very good. It feels slower.
For us non-PvPers, I have to say. I mean, there's that caveat.
Yeah. Exactly. Like, if you like seriously, if you want to get an opinion from a proper PvPer, someone who has spent a lot of their time not just fighting but also testing and evaluating how these things operate, go check out Nubifier, for instance.
Yeah, Nubifier. I think Moistnoodle and others. Yep. They're more into combat than I mean anybody but me. Or Darch. We do not do the combat thing very often against players. But
no, we don't.
Yeah, I like to watch it. I like to talk about it, but I don't like to. I mean, like, I don't know. I'm just not much of a PvPer because I suck at it.
But maybe you suck at it because you're not much of a PvPer, and it's like which came first, the chicken or the egg thing.
I've never lost a game in pool before. I don't play pool.
Yes, the only way to win is not to play at all.
Exactly.
Right, I'm gonna uninstall Star Citizen, right?
My God, I think he's done it. He's won.
Oh my God, it's not pay to win, it's uninstall to win.
We're doing this all wrong, God damn it.
All right, so what else in 3.10? It's a very unique feeling patch, yeah.
Restricted areas.
Oh, right, yeah. I was thinking about that when I was taking my shower. It was like, we gotta talk about those.
So you were like going into the shower and you're like, this would kind of suck if there was like a tunnel I had to walk into the shower to get to.
I haven't seen my bathrooms like towels everywhere. It's kind of like you have to walk through a tunnel to get to the. Anyway, yes, the no-fly zones have been reworked to be much simpler on the servers. I believe that is the main reason.
That's one of the reasons why.
Yeah. And also to be easier to navigate. Although I do believe they still need a bit of work. Like when we're taking off from Hurston in the 890, it's like you don't see the tunnel that pops up to let you out of the no-fly zone, and you don't see it in third person.
Yeah.
So if you go to third person and then look around, okay, which way am I supposed to go? You can't tell, and just turning that behemoth above the landing pads, looking for the little corridor to let you out is a bit of a derpy thing.
Yeah. So I don't think it's necessary to see it in third person, but definitely there need to be arrows pointing to it in your flight HUD.
You know what they could adopt? The racing methodology.
Wow.
Like how in racing you immediately get the waypoint, marking the next circle.
Oh yeah.
It's like as soon as you request takeoff or you request landing, you immediately get the waypoint to where the entrance of the tunnel is. So even if it's pointed away from you, you get a little arrow guiding you. That
would be nice. That would work. Yeah. For the most part, I think it works okay. For the people who are not used to it, don't know how it works now. Before, the no-fly zones used to be this giant grid just all around the wherever they don't want you to go. Now it's more of a wait. Let me think.
It's a sphere around the entire thing. It possibly, if it's like a very irregular city, it's composed of several interlocking spheres, but like the very most basic of clouds that you can draw, basically just a couple of circles. But apparently that is still a lot easier on all the systems than having like a grid that completely follows the contours of all the buildings and stuff like that.
I've got my analogy now. The old no-fly zone used to be a box without a lid, and you had to like land into the box. But the new no-fly zone is a sphere, like a bubble that goes over where they want you to go. And when you call where you want to go to, then they spawn a straw through the bubble, and you have to go through that straw. If you go either side, then it's no-fly zone style. But if you go through the straw, you're good. And then when the straw disappears, then you can't go through that thing again. It's like a thing that spawns just then for you.
Yeah.
Bubbles and straws.
Yeah, bubbles and straws. Yeah. was the tapioca seed bubble tea, whatever it is?
Boba. Yeah.
Boba. Yeah.
Boba.
Yeah, some millennial of us now. But with the new ship UI and this thing, it's based on the new building blocks system, so they have a lot of freedom now to design these things and augment them very quickly in any way they like.
Yeah. So when I first heard building blocks, I always thought it was going to be like a server-side thing that everybody could always see. But this is the first building blocks element that we've seen that it's only client-side at the moment.
Well, it's rendered to texture that is thing that you can always see. Building blocks is a tool for the designers to implement UI. And if it's not implemented via render to texture, then not everybody gets to see it.
That's a good point, yeah. Because the radial dial in the menu is also building blocks, and no one else can see it but you.
But, the new ammo counters on the lightning gun company weapons those are rendered to texture.
They are,
and you can see just how much ammo in the magazine is still left if you just look at somebody else's gun.
It's a cool feature. I like that a lot, and I just cannot wait for RTT to be on your MFDs, so that you can see what your pilot's doing, or if like Shiggy on the panel over there, he's doing the engineering correctly, or if he's screwing up again and that kind of thing.
Or if it's playing Galaga instead of...
He's playing Galaga? Yeah, exactly. But yeah, I'm looking forward to that a lot.
We used to have that. We didn't have it via render to texture. So what it was that every ship's UI was rendered on every client, regardless if they could see it or not. But it was hilarious because you could. The best part was when you zoomed in from your own ship onto somebody else's ship, and you could interact with their MFD. That was
great. That was E-War. That was Tier 0 E-War. CIG just had to get rid of it.
Yeah, it was too powerful. No man should have such power.
Eject.
I've never actually done it, but did that work?
Yeah, it all worked, but it's all done now.
Oh, wow. But yeah, render to texture needs to be everywhere. Yeah, the demos look fantastic. Like, remember the CitizenCon demos where they had basically just a viewport of a scene and then another camera and then another camera. So it was basically via 3 cameras they were able to render everything, and it was multiplayer for everyone. So
yeah. Or the Grimhex dancing guy with like the panels and stuff. Do you remember that one test?
Oh, yeah. You had one of those camera drones.
Yeah. That was cool. Money trading app.
Oh, yeah.
Mo Trader.
With the ugliest design in the world.
No. What do you mean?
It's like I hope they're just trying to mimic real life when banking apps and websites are the shittiest thing to use ever, and it's like, oh yeah, we are a bank, we're just here, have an app, and it's like it was designed in 2650, but still running on Mobiglast 2.0 in 2950.
It's perfect. I mean, yeah, it's pretty horrific actually, but like, again, if everything is a stepping stone, I do like I'm curious as to where they want to go with the whole like you can see a mesh for the person's face next to their name. Is it gonna actually be like their face from the character creator, or is it just gonna be a mesh? Because I think it'd be really cool to like see their character's face as it is, maybe with their helmet, maybe without their helmet, just like their face all the time.
Yeah,
be kind of cool.
What was it? Sean Tracy mentioned that because of the new DNA tech is like instead of sending the entire bone structure and textures of your character's face, all they send is like a
40 odd numbers,
and that is all that is needed to be sent about that person's appearance, and even that app could be able, potentially be able to render the person's face from the name.
Yeah, it'd be really cool. I would like that, I guess. It'd be pretty neat, especially if eventually we'll be able to save our character customizations, so that every patch and reset we don't have to redo it. Because once that happens, people will spend more time doing it, and they'll get to look more unique over time. Also, once we get more than 9 heads per sex, that'd be nice too.
The NPCs already have them.
They do.
Why not us?
Yeah, in 3.10, we have several new kinds of NPC faces. So here's looking to the future. That and the hair shader as well. That'd be nice, please.
Oh, yeah.
Facial hair would be nice too.
The hair shader is gonna tank performance so hard. I think they're actually waiting for the Gen 12 renderer so they can offset a lot of that to Vulkan.
Yeah. I mean, it'd be nice if you in the options you can choose whether or not you're using the new hair shader or the old one, just so that you can, for people who can't do it, there should be always that choice to not have the crazy stuff. Look at the New Oceans, for instance.
I think though it'd be more of a new hair shader that has several levels of detail.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and you can choose the level 2 level of detail, so the one close up if your PC can handle it. Would be nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, the money trader is a bit interesting at the moment. I wonder how they're going to nerf it, because right now, it's unfettered. Apart from the 0.5% tax, it's unfettered. You can do whatever you want. You can send somebody 1 million credits and then receive 1 million credits back, and then I wonder if they're going to put limitations on that.
And all you're doing is giving 0.5% of that each time to the government. That's all you're doing.
Right, yeah, but what I'm saying is right now it's kind of if you have enough contacts, if you're Montoya of Test Squadron with 20,000 people out there, you can become He's gonna do it, isn't he?
Oh yeah, he is.
I'm going to make my campaign to be the first billionaire on Star Citizen, or trillionaire, whatever it is, because we've had billionaires with hacks, right? So, oh man.
Somebody clip that and send it to Montoya.
Oh no, don't, please.
Well, it's like that in real life. If you have somebody's contact info on PayPal, you can send them the money.
That's fair.
And there is no, there is no need for them to first accept the offer of the money. It's just, oh, hey, I have money. Thank you.
I suppose the danger with this, or not even the danger, but the reality of it is the fact that with Star Citizen, every single player of Star Citizen is all on one giant global server. Nobody's relegated to shards or anything like that. Whereas, other games, you are. So it's you're basically able to receive money from everybody in the entire world of Star Citizen.
Yeah, I mean, I guess they're relying on people's individual greed to not just, send all the money they earn to one person.
Give me your money, guys. Do it. Just do it. You don't need to eat. Just do it. In Star Citizen, of course.
Yeah. In 3.10, I believe I have 5,000 Alpha UC. Paul and I and Dragon Diabolus, we opened up a bar on a Phoenix,
Mm-hmm.
and I helped finance that. We rented it for a day, and that's 88,000 LFEC. So I'm poor now.
Oh.
Oh, and we were able to open the bar because there's beer now.
There is, yeah. There's beer now, but you don't get drunk yet. That isn't in yet.
What isn't in yet? Sorry, you were broken a bit.
Sorry, yeah. Drunkenness isn't in yet.
Yeah.
I wonder how like all this consumable stuff is going to affect your Mr. Refreshments bar, the old subflare.
Mm-hmm.
How's that going to affect it all?
There needs to be stock there. Like every time you have a glass of that, it needs to the bottle needs to empty itself, and when you run out, you need to go out into the PU and find a store that sells Radagast or whatever it is that you were drinking. Testahol, maybe.
Maybe, or maybe they just charge you like the bartenders does. I mean, like, I guess ultimately it would be nice, but it's like super ancient subflare, so I doubt they'd ever do that, would they?
It's, well, maybe, they could just cheap out, and one of the new subflares would be an upgraded whatever it is you said.
Or Mr. Refreshments bar.
Mr. Refreshments, yeah.
I feel maybe what they would do is they would update the one that we currently have, and then they'll make like a one that anybody can buy in the verse. That way, the tech gets grandfathered in or whatever.
Sure, but first they need to have like proper ownable. What's the word? Property where you live.
Yeah, about that.
Because you still can't invite other players, your friends, into your hangar.
I mean, you can invite them into your hab.
Yeah, no, you can't.
Yeah, you can. You can.
No, because once you leave, you can't back in. You can't
really
get back. Yeah.
Not anymore. Okay.
You would have to suicide, and then open the door from the inside and let other people in. You can only open your hab doors from the inside.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
That's fair enough, I guess. I mean, that's weird, but they've spoken about like customizing easy habs for a while. We know that the lighting team has spoken about like different lighting customizations for the easy habs and item placement and stuff. This was a lot of, they were talking about this like last year, like it was coming out the following week. So we know that it's on the horizon.
I think what they were actually referring to is basically just like slightly procedural placement of props for the 100 something habs that you have in.
Thank you, by the way, Darj, for the donation. I appreciate it. I guess my spiel worked. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. But as I was saying, I think it's just for every time you spawn or every time a server boots up, the little like the not orientation, but the order of the different props on tables, etc., is slightly different, so it looks like it's been lived in. Not that you're able to grab something and rearrange it and it's there forever because that is your hab. That I hope will come later.
I want that. Yeah,
server meshing needs to be in first. That's it. No use making that before we actually have an actual need to rent a hab.
I think it can come in first, honestly. I mean, you don't need server meshing for it. Persistence within your hab has been on for a while. That's how board gamer people have been able to, like, stockpile turtles back when turtles were a thing. Yeah, they'd go to a different server, they'd spawn on a different floor, but their hab would have all their same stuff load up in there. So, because the habs are essentially ships, that's how they work. In terms of the stuff you can store in them. So that's all you would need, in my opinion. We would like server meshing, but it's not necessary for this particular thing.
Yeah,
server meshing would give you
Yeah, but first I would probably just want to go down to the reception and say, I would like to rent Hab 4 on floor 9 for the next 5 months. And that is where I spawn and nobody else gets access. But without server meshing, is like people on another server want to do that.
Yeah.
And it's just like okay, so how many Habs, for instance, at Aspire
64.
Grand? 64?
64 in every single landing zone, as far as I know.
Well, that would mean that in the Aspire Grand, that is 6.4 Habs per floor. How does that work out?
Maybe they're more or less in the Aspire Grand. How many floors are there in Aspire?
10.
I think maybe then 60.
I think they're either 40 or 60. Yeah, but that is only 60 people who would be able to rent out a Hab
on
in the entire game.
Yeah, on a server with a max of 50 people.
Sure, but how do you... Okay. Let's say on my server, I go on one server, and I rent out the Hab, the specific Hab, for the next 5 months. Every time I spawn in on Microtech, for instance, I spawn in that Hab. You, on your server, do the same.
Yeah.
You reserve the exact same Hab for the next 5 months.
Right.
Then we spawn in on the same server. Are we bunk buddies?
So you're assuming that renting of a particular Hab would be in. I'm saying that doesn't necessarily have to be in until server meshing. Until then, the same spawning logic will apply as it does now. You go in one server, and you get assigned a random Hab that has all your stuff in it as it does already. Okay. It's persistent. And then you go to an Australian server, and you go to like a different upside down floor, but all your stuff is in there. You don't have to have rented it yet, but when server meshing does come in, then I would love renting to be a thing, and then for it to be persistent and for you to have to work.
But can you imagine just how many different buildings they're gonna have to open in New Babbage for people to rent?
That's a good point. I mean, when that happens, I imagine the Aspire Grand is going to be a very expensive place to rent, and then you have to find somewhere else.
Oh yeah, it's gonna be like thousands of Alpha UC a night. Which is why it's going to probably make it more sense for people to live on ships or have hangars with attached living in an asteroid somewhere.
Yeah.
In the Aeron Halo belt.
I mean, I guess we have tons of Lagrange point places already that all have Habs anyway, so finding a place to rent shouldn't be an issue.
I wonder if anybody's ever made calculations on how many different Habs actually exist right now in Star Citizen. We could go over the star map and do some calculations.
We could do.
It's definitely not enough. Definitely not enough.
Yeah, not for every
hundreds
player.
And thousands of players. Yeah, even if you assume that on average, every player has 2 accounts. So we have 1 million citizens right now. No, definitely not, Mr. Maya.
No, definitely not for now. But
once server meshing is in, that is going to be one of the biggest issues. Then, where are you going to house all these people?
I think it'd be fairly easy. I mean, I think it'd be actually pretty damn easy. Give me a second. Population of Austin, Texas.
Right, I see where you're getting with that. Yes, the city of Lorville has about the same surface area as Houston, Texas,
which has a population of 1 million people.
Yeah. But that's going to require a huge rework of Lorville. You're going to have all these interconnected towers, like L19 is what is right now. The living area of Urson. So you're going to have thousands of those in Lorville.
Sure. I mean, you could maybe have like satellite towns and stuff around that is connected by a train instead. Otherwise, you'd have a ton of different train stops, and it'd be really weird and like copy and pasted.
Yeah, that is going to be a monumental task for for the devs to overcome. How did we get on this topic? Is it nothing to do with 3.10?
You brought it up. So,
did I?
Yes, you won't stop talking about it. We went from money trading to that, yeah. And then I guess lastly, Fbs Ai changes and stuff. I haven't really gotten to fight AI 1-to-1 yet, so I haven't really been able to. But they do cool things now, like they fire blindly from cover. They now use shotguns sometimes.
Do they still like charge you and then all of a sudden you're dead, even though their gun was over here and somehow they managed to shoot you?
I'm not sure if they've been able to. I'm not sure if they still have the Kurgan charge for Mass Effect still.
Oh yeah, that'd be nice because that was pants.
Yeah, they use cover now more, but I need to get in there and like do a lot of that. Like, but AI in general in the PTU has a lot of delay. Not just, I mean, it's this. So it's kind of interesting that we have these new bartenders, right? Because the way the bartenders act and react to you is the same way that the combat AI also act and react to you. So you can basically tell like how combat AI is going to be on that specific server by going to the bar and talking to the bartender.
Oh, right. Yeah. Because I've seen a video of a bartender that was very reactive.
Oh, yeah.
Like, yeah. So the tech is there, but it's almost as if the back end is this. Okay, you have this huge ship in port, and then you send out your dinkiest little tug to move it around. It's like that. It's like you have 100,000 players playing the PTU right now, but it's like one Core 2 Duo server with 4 gigs of RAM
just
running
constantly
the
on
back
fire.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's almost all the features. I mean, I want to say that's all the features.
The entry effects.
The entry effects. We need to redo that again. We have a good idea of how to get it working. For those out of the loop, we made this thing called Operation Tears of Fire, trying to reenact the end of the Second Teveran War, 2610, when the Teveran fleet crashed into their homeworld of Elysium 4 with their shields off, making a massive fireworks display and killing themselves in a blaze of glory and sadness. But the draw distance isn't big enough, so the next time we try it, we're going to be doing it from the 890 jump. And just something
that I noticed while we were failing at that is that there is there are 2 versions of the effect, and there is quite an obvious transition between the very elaborate, sign distant field enabled fireball, and then it transitions into basically a particle effect. That is basically that is what replaces your ship. I think it's at about, I want to say 2 to 5 kilometers where that transition happens. So we don't have to be, at 50 kilometers away, for it to be beautifully over the horizon. I think we could, bring the entire operation very close in, and then hopefully not 30k out, because back end is still
back
on
end
fire.
Is back end, yeah.
Oh yeah, the only gesture that works right now that is becoming a meme.
Face wiping, so you can now wipe your visors when it gets cold and dusty, when it gets cold and wet, and hopefully, like when we get dust storms and stuff on or at least dust layers and stuff, dust shaders on Daymar and stuff, you can do the same thing there as well.
You don't want to do that though.
I mean, in real life,
can you imagine the scratches you leave in your visor?
Yeah, but in game with our titanium laminate, whatever it is, yes,
all right, of course. Various different little features. Yeah. Do you still think that wiping is what broke every other emote right now?
I think so. I think when they were trying to implement it, they must have broken everything. Yeah, you can't even type / anything anymore. It's all broken, and the only gesture left is that. So it must be tied.
But that is why it's still Wave 1 PTU and not live for everyone. Because that's just the way things are. Yeah, with FOIP you can actually do that because FOIP is working a lot better now in 3.10.
Yeah, that's right. FOIP is awesome in 3.10, but it's just not FOIP.
Oh yeah, it's just face.
Yeah, we haven't tested actually to see if the IP part is in yet.
We could tomorrow.
Yeah.
Anyway, shall we wipe it up?
Okay. I hate you. So, all right. So that is that for yet another episode of the Fortnightly Frontier. 3.10 is looking pretty cool. I mean, like, again, it's a whole bunch of stepping stones towards the final realized version of the game, and these stepping stones are rough but promising. Yeah. Anyway, that's it from me, and that's, as always, that's it from Mr. Darjanator over in the corner, or the side. Are we in the corner? The side? Anyway, over there, it's Darj, as always, and there's Pico the Penguin behind us as well. Until next time, guys, we'll see you
around the verse.
No, it's changed. Around the verse.